This is crazy. We're definitely not seeing a level of preparation that we saw from the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case. There's the preparation here and the skill levels are nowhere comparable. Oh my god. Kenny, it's an absolute train wreck. Hey Kenny. Oh, see, just answer the questions. Don't get smart. Don't try to be slick. Just answer the questions. She's trying to save her reelection campaign. Tape. No, you can. You no. No, you're not quite. Okay, let me see if I can adjust that. How about now? Can you hear? Okay, no to the.
That work in the buildings. You know what? February 23rd may become cold. We're going to go inside. We're going to be warm. And then we're going to demand that our federal government serve we the people. Because we're sick and tired of their ways. We're sick and tired of the corruption. See, here's the issue. Here's the issue, America. They think that we're stupid, and they treat us like we're stupid. And we allow it. We allow it. Well, no more. We're not going to allow it anymore. We want solutions to the problems. We want to take care of America. America is first. Americans come first with Americans' taxpayer dollars. We're done. We're done. And we have a massive list of grievances, okay? We have a huge list of grievances. And that's why on February 23rd in Washington, D.C. at 8 a.m., we're going to march and protest. And I am telling you to get your butt there. I'm begging all of you to be there. Be there. Let's make this huge. There's a lot of really, really great people organizing this. You don't even know.
Ms. Greene, that's you, right?
That's me.
And in that clip, you were urging people to come to Washington and flood the Capitol, right?
What year was that?
You tell me, Ms. Greene.
I believe it was for February 23rd, 2019.
Right.
There was no violence that day. We peacefully protested.
Fair enough. But my point is to ask you the question. You were urging people for that demonstration to flood the Capitol.
To peacefully protest with me and enter the Capitol and ask our lawmakers to serve the American people.
So now you remember giving that statement, right?
Now that we've watched the video, I remember that.
Now that your memory has been jogged a little bit, do you remember talking about that demonstration being done on a peaceful basis?
That demonstration was peaceful.
Right. And you remember that you said, we can do it peacefully, right?
Of course, I only believe in peaceful demonstration. I do not support violence.
In fact, what you said is, we can do it peacefully. We can. I hope we don't have to do it the other way. I hope not. But we should feel like we will if we have to, because we are the American people. That was another statement that you made in the same presentation, right?
That was in your CNN article, and I don't trust CNN as a source. They've lied about me multiple times.
Are you denying that under oath that you made that statement?
I'm not. I just don't recall. I'm not recalling saying specifically that. The demonstration was peaceful. History shows that.
What year was this again?
2019. It has nothing to do with January 6th.
I'll move on, Your Honor.
You're pushing the envelope.
I thought you already fallen off the cliff.
No comment. No comment.
Yeah, I'd appreciate if Mr. Bach would keep his humor to himself for the moment. He can do that on the cameras outside when the time comes.
Gentlemen, and I'm serious. We need to get back to task.
Ms. Greene, did you or any member of your government or campaign staff communicate with Anthony Aguero about the events of January 6th, prior to January 6th?
I don't recall.
Did you or any member of your staff, either congressional staff or campaign staff, communicate with somebody named Dustin Stockton prior to January 6th?
I don't think I know who that is.
Okay. How about Jennifer Lawrence? Not the actress, but a Jennifer Lawrence who's involved in conservative politics. Did you or any member of your congressional campaign staff communicate with Ms. Lawrence prior to January 6th about the demonstrations that were planned for that day?
I don't recall. I don't think I know who that is.
Yeah, he's horrible.
Did you or any member of your campaign or congressional staff, Ms. Greene, provide any support for any demonstrations that occurred on January 6, 2021?
I have no idea. I don't think so. I don't recall.
Did you or any member of your staff provide information, advice, funds, printed material, the promise of a public statement, to withhold a public statement, anything along those lines in connection with the demonstrations that were planned for January 6th?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
And if somebody were to come in here and say, oh yeah, she gave us support for our demonstrations, you'd say, I don't remember that. That didn't happen.
I'm not sure what you're saying. I think you're speculating. That's hypothetical.
Like, where's the lawyer? Like, where's the objection?
January 6, 2021, you heard that people were planning to enter the Capitol on January 6th.
She shouldn't have to offer all objections.
No.
I object that. I think that's the fifth time.
Well, no, she answered the question. No. Next.
Never heard that from anybody.
No.
And prior to January 6, 2021, you were aware that people were going to make noise outside the Capitol as a means to disrupt the proceedings inside the Capitol. Is that fair?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay.
It really is. It's really
Prior to
bad.
January 6, 2021, and you heard that people were planning to enter the Capitol building illegally in order to disrupt the electoral count process.
No, absolutely not. I don't know anything about that.
Okay. Your Honor, it's I think 12:45 is.
Well, let's talk about that. How much longer do you think you missed?
Probably an hour.
All right, well, why don't we take I'm gonna change, let's take an hour, and let's be back here at 12:45, so that's 1:45, right? Is that right?
Could I respectfully ask to make it 45 minutes only?
45 minutes, you wanna make it 12:30? I mean, 1:30, I'm sorry, I'm challenged on the clock. 1:30, 45 minutes, adequate for you, Mr. Bob. Is that okay with you, Tom?
To continue.
I mean, we got 45 minutes for lunch, is that okay?
Oh, sure.
Okay, all right, well, we'll reconvene in 45 minutes, which will be 1:30.
Thank you, sir.
Your Honor, do we need to clear the table or
I believe it's secure, right? It should be secure, yeah. We'll see everybody back at 1:30. Thank you.
This is nothing. So yeah, I mean, in fact, yeah, I'll turn the sound back up, see if anything else is happening. Oh, Gates is there.
Okay, great. All right.
So a break for lunch here in this hearing challenging Georgia Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene's candidacy for re-election. At the conclusion of this hearing, the judge will make a recommendation as to the validity of the challenge, but it will be up to Georgia Republican Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger to make a final decision on whether Representative Greene should remain on the ballot ahead of the May 24th Republican primary. So a 45-minute break here. While the break continues, we'll show you some of her.
Yeah, this is. So if y'all been watching any of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, those, like, you seeing one thing, you're seeing lawyers that have much more skill, and two, you're seeing witnesses. Like Johnny Depp as a witness has been Johnny Depp has been showing what a witness should do, and Marjorie Taylor Greene is showing exactly what a witness shouldn't do. Like the snark, the trying to joke. But yeah, like you said, Kenny, the questioning was so bad. The cross examination was just so horrible. Like he had like it's horrible all the way around. I didn't know how prepared the opposition was, but it's appearing that the opposition isn't that prepared or um either. But she's like, trying to get snarky. Like that's never a good idea. The witness, your job is just to answer the questions. Don't try, like just answer especially on cross. On cross, you just answer the questions. Don't get into snips and snippy with the with the lawyer that's asking you questions, because like the whole thing she did with joking about QAnon. It's like, and then she opened up, well, but you believe in QAnon. Like it opens you up to all kinds of nonsense. So yeah, I don't know. Yes. The fact that I once I saw that thing, because I've already had, and just by just theories that I don't need to voice. But it's funny that Matt is there. That Matt Gates is there. Because these two are definitely like peas in the pod. But they yeah, the questioning I really thought was gonna be much tighter. I thought he was gonna have, because like there's a significant amount of so I there's a significant amount of evidence and stuff out there that she said. However, the fact that things like losing her Twitter account might actually have helped her, because I don't know how early these guys attempted to get control or get access to certain materials. Had she still had her Twitter account, there may be things there that they could have gotten off and then provided, okay, look, this is from your Twitter account. But the fact that she no longer has a Twitter account, it seems like they had some problems getting stuff. Like they were trying to issue subpoenas, and the her team wanted to fast track it so that they would be as little prepared as possible. So much I want to say about that. And yeah. Like I listen, I'm thinking I've been thinking it ever since they became buddy. I was like, okay, because but that's it. I'm just thinking it. You know what I'm saying? I know. Yeah, we're right there, Kenny. Absolutely. But yeah, it's funny because this is night and day from the other trial, the big trial this week, where like people were watching Johnny Depp testify, and people were saying, why is he talking so slow? That is a very good strategy as a witness, especially if you're a witness, you're on cross. Speak slow, because the desire to speak fast, to speak normally, or whatever, can actually get you in trouble. So stop, think carefully about the question, and answer very deliberately, very slowly, and just answer the question. Don't embellish, don't add extra stuff, just answer the question. But in her case, like, she's buddy, yeah. But in her case, she's getting like snippy. She wants to tell jokes. But even her lawyer, when that dude was asking when they was crossing her with that question, and she has to basically offer her own objection up, it's like, where's her lawyer? Like, her lawyer should have been the one to stand up and offer that objection. She had to she had to object to the question herself, and I'm like, this is let me see how many minutes I'm in. Okay, yeah, this is a shit show. Point blank period. That's what this is. This is, but it's looking like I thought they were going to be better prepared. I thought she was going to be facing much more a much worse situation than this. And despite the fact that I don't think she's a good witness, and I don't think her team is the best. I think that the bar is so high that she's going to be able to clear it and still get. I think the recommendation from this is going to be in her favor, but even so, then you've got the fact that the governor, the Secretary of State will still most likely side with her.
They did. They stopped the electoral count. Yes.
Right. And so
They're recapping some.
the enemies of the Constitution.
Hey, Joe to go, welcome.
Right?
I don't know if it defines it that way.
Well, having taken the oath that we saw on the screen, if you were aware
Exactly.
that someone was going to unlawfully interfere with the constitutional process of counting the electoral votes, you'd be obliged by your oath to try to stop it, right?
Your Honor, I object. The claim is not she violated her oath. The claim is under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. And so her opinion on words like enemies are words of art often in the law is just irrelevant to the matter, to whether or not she engaged, did a direct and overt act of insurrection.
Your Honor, we had a 1-hour presentation on the law from Mr. Bopp. We did not object to that.
I will let you answer the question. I've forgotten what it is.
Can we ask for it to be read back?
Thanks, Joe. Thank you.
Question, if you were aware that somebody was going to unlawfully interfere with the constitutional process of counting electoral votes, you would be obliged to have them arrested or stopped, right?
You may answer.
You may answer the question to the best of your ability.
I had no knowledge of any attempt, and so that's a question that I can't answer.
Well,
I can't answer that question.
I take your representation that you have no knowledge for the time being. I'm asking it as a hypothetical question, just to understand
I
your.
can't answer a hypothetical question.
Well, I'm permitted to ask you one, so I'm going to ask you again. If you had knowledge in advance that someone was going to unlawfully interfere with the counting of the electoral votes in a presidential election, under your oath, you'd be obliged to do something to stop that, right?
I object. She's not being charged for violating her oath. There is no foundation laid that she had any knowledge about anything like that.
We'll come to that.
And so these hypothetical.
Sustain.
Let me try it a different way on the screen. You remember the part in the oath where you talked about taking on the obligations of the oath freely and without mental reservation or purpose of evasion? You recall that from a few minutes ago, right?
Yes.
Okay. If you knew that people were planning to interfere with the constitutional process of counting the electoral votes, you knew that before you took the oath, and you took the oath anyway and decided not to do anything about those plans, that would be a mental reservation. Don't you agree?
I object. She is not being charged with violating the oath. The question is, did she engage in insurrection or rebellion?
Her state of mind is relevant, Your Honor. We think it's very important to have her understanding.
What?
It's relevant to whether she engaged in insurrection during the time period from January 3rd to January 6th. And we're going to be talking about her state of mind all day.
You may come back to that question after you have laid a foundation for why it ties into her activities from and after the.
Fair enough. Fair enough, Your Honor. Ms. Greene, you're familiar with social media, right?
Yes.
And that's a form of communication, right?
Yes.
You know what Facebook is and Twitter, right?
Yes.
you use those as an important form of communication in your work.
Yes,
You post messages on Facebook, right?
I post statements, messages, yes,
Videos also, right?
yes,
And you also respond and react to other people's comments when they're posted on Facebook or Twitter, right?
yes,
And you do that as a way to get your political views out into the world.
it's my freedom of speech to do so.
I agree. And you've been very successful at using social media to get your views out into the world, right?
I would say that's an opinion.
Well, I'm asking your opinion. You've got hundreds of thousands of people who follow you on Twitter and Facebook, right?
No, not really, because my personal Twitter account doesn't exist anymore.
Before it was suspended by Twitter, you had hundreds of thousands of people following you on Facebook and Twitter, right?
Yes,
And by the way, the way Facebook and Twitter work, is my understanding, is they don't have to necessarily follow you to read what you have to say, right?
I guess so.
So it could be millions of people who have read the things that you have said on Facebook and Twitter over the years.
I don't know that.
But it could be. You would agree with that, right?
No, I don't know that. I
Okay.
don't know how many people read or see what I post on social media.
But what you post on social media is what you want people to know about your political beliefs, correct?
Sure.
Okay. You're not putting stuff up there as a joke, are you?
Sometimes, yes.
Well, we'll come back to that. And you use Facebook and Twitter to communicate with your
Exactly.
constituents in the 14th congressional district here in Georgia, right?
Yes.
So immediately after the 2020 election and through January 6th, even beyond that, you issued a number of tweets and made statements on Twitter and Facebook about the election, right?
Yes.
You tweeted a whole lot of material about your views of what happened in the 2020 election.
Yes.
And the thrust of those tweets were that you felt that the election was stolen from the sitting president.
I object. That is,
You can ask the question, what is your opinion?
Well, I also want to ask whether she communicated that opinion through.
Well,
Well, let's do it that way, Your Honor. I take your point.
where are you going with this, counsel?
I'm going to show the witness a number of her tweets, and I wanted to make sure that I understand the context of them. That's all.
Well, she said she posts on Twitter.
Right. And my question is whether she posts material that reflect the opinion that you have. Strike that. Ms. Greene, you had the opinion between November 2020, when the election happened, and January 6th, 2021, that the election was stolen from President Trump.
I object.
Am I right about that?
Ask you if you've got questions about specific documents or
Okay.
specific things. Go ahead. Let's not. Let's
Let's go to PX 2A, Ms. Wells, please.
I'm sorry. Which one is this?
2A, Your Honor. Can you see that, Ms. Greene?
Mm-hmm.
And what we have here in 2A is a document. Well, I'll ask you, can you tell us, is this a statement that you posted on Twitter on December 3rd, 2020?
Go ahead.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am?
Yes.
And this is a statement where you talk about that you were looking for a senator to join yourself and Representative Mo Brooks to reject the fraudulent votes for Joe Biden and to keep the real Donald Trump in the White House, right?
I object, Your Honor, to the,
Yes.
you can hear my objection.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting with bated breath, Jim.
Is that this violates the right of free
Yes.
speech. There's nothing in this statement that meets the Brandenburg test, even if speech could be
Absolutely.
considered, since it can't when we're dealing with engages, which is conduct, not speech. And it does not even meet the incitement test, which requires directed to inciting or producing imminent lawless action.
Your Honor, we heard an hour of argument this morning on this.
Hold on. Go ahead, Mr. Thank you, Your Honor. That is likely to incite or produce action in the quote. So it's objectionable. And to call her into account for her First Amendment free speech is unconstitutional.
Mr. Bob, I appreciate your argument, but that's argument. I'm going to allow it. Go ahead, Mr. Chairman.
When you sent out this, strike that, did you send out this tweet, Ms. Greene? Ms. Wells, did you put it back up?
Yes.
Okay. And when you sent out this tweet, you wanted the people who read the tweet to know that it was your view that the votes for Mr. Biden for president were fraudulent, or some of them were, right?
That really wasn't the purpose of that tweet.
I'm just asking whether when you sent this, you were communicating to the people who read your Twitter account that you believed that there were fraudulent votes for Mr. Biden and that your goal was to keep President Trump in the White House.
I was communicating that we were looking for a senator to join our objection, which is very much part of the responsibilities and duties that I can do as a member of Congress.
I agree with that. But the purpose of that was because you believed that the votes for Mr. Biden were fraudulent, right? Or at least some of them.
We had been spending a vast amount of time reading and researching and talking to people and had seen tremendous evidence of voter fraud. I don't know if you're aware, because I know you're not from Georgia. We currently have our Secretary of State has an
Your Honor, I would move to
investigation
strike this. I'm entitled to get answers to my questions, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right, let's back up.
By the way, Your Honor, I'm sorry to interrupt. We missed something very important. Can the representative be sworn?
Oh, thank you. No, I swore you.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay, I didn't see that. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
All right. And can I ask the court to acknowledge that this is an adverse witness, a hostile witness?
She's an adverse witness,
And
therefore cross-examined.
right.
Even though she makes on your case in chief, yes, I acknowledge.
And I would ask the court to remind the witness that in this posture, she has to answer my questions. She can't give speeches. Is that fair?
You're entitled to an answer to the question that is asked. You're not entitled to make her answer. You're not entitled to answers that are to require her to answer when the question is objectionable, violates the First Amendment rights, is irrelevant to the charges that are being made, just to what? Fishing expedition, political theater, what is this?
This is cross-examination.
Cross-examination.
I'm entitled to a yes, no, or I can't answer response.
Let's go ahead.
Unless this is objectionable.
You have a standing objection, Mr. Bob, to everything in the world. I want to question your witness. Let her testify. She's doing fine.
That's enough. Stop. Let's stop. Please sit down. Next question, Mr. Chairman. This is not theater. This
Like,
is not
seriously,
an
this is
argument from the
crazy.
Supreme Court. This is an evidentiary hearing. So let's get going. Go ahead, Ms. Shelley.
Ms. Wells, can you pull up Plaintiff's Exhibit 2C, please?
Thank you, Kenny.
Which number?
2C. Ms. Greene, is this a tweet that you sent out from your account
Seriously.
on
Seriously.
December 19th, 2020?
Yes.
And in this tweet, let me go back a second. Your Honor, I would just ask that the previous exhibit, which I think was 2D, be admitted into evidence. 2D. I'm sorry, 2A.
All right, so 2A is here.
And I'd ask that 2C be admitted into evidence.
2C. All right, say that again, I was distracted, go through it again.
Sure, I asked the witness if this was her tweet. She said it was.
This is your tweet, okay.
I asked it to be admitted into evidence.
I object if it's not probative and it violates your First Amendment rights.
Well,
It's nothing to do with engage, it doesn't.
It's in for what it's worth, Mr. Bond, okay? I mean, it's worth it, but it's in.
Go ahead. And I apologize, John. I do think it's my responsibility to make pertinent issues.
I respect it. I respect it. Go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Bell.
Thank you. Representative Greene, in your tweet,
Ask your question to move to the next.
December 19, 2020, that we marked
Yes, Kenny.
as Exhibit 2C. One of the things you're communicating to the people who would read this tweet was that you want them to come to Washington on January 6th for a demonstration. Is that right?
For a march for Trump.
Right. Fight for Trump. The phrase that you use there is hashtag fight for Trump, right? That's what the words say.
That's what it says on my tweet.
And you posted that because you, in fact, wanted people to show up on January 6th, 2021 in DC in order to help you stop the theft of the 2020 election from your point of view.
No.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure we got a clear answer on this. You did believe at this time that the 2020 election had been stolen by the Democrats from Mr. Trump, right?
I was asking people to come for a peaceful march, which is what everyone is entitled to do under their First Amendment, but I was not asking them to actively engage in violence or any type of action.
My question is really simple. It's about your opinion. When this tweet came out, and in this period, it was your opinion that the election had been stolen from Mr. Trump or was about to be stolen, right?
Under my opinion, there was a tremendous amount of fraudulent things that happened in the election. And under my opinion, I want to do anything I can to protect election integrity and to protect the people of my district in Georgia, people's votes. They should count.
Is it fair to say, Representative Greene, that from election night of 2020 until January 6, 2021, your personal opinion and your wish was that Congress not certify Joe Biden as the winner of the 2020 election?
No, that's not accurate.
You believed that Joe Biden had lost the election to Mr. Trump, right?
Well, yes, we saw a tremendous amount of voter fraud. We have investigations going on right now in the state of Georgia. There's investigations going on in multiple states. My own husband showed up to vote in the general election, and when he went in to vote in person, he was told that he had already voted by absentee ballot, when in fact, he had never even requested an absentee ballot. There's many instances.
And that portion of testimony from Georgia Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene in a hearing to determine whether she should be allowed to run for re-election to Congress. A group opposing her candidacy is citing a provision of the 14th Amendment to the Constitution that states that if a member of Congress takes part in an insurrection or rebellion against
this is like the sniping and stuff like that is ridiculous, because now you're just pissing the judge off and you're disrespecting his courtroom. And so, like, it's one thing, like, the way she's answering questions, and then she's putting this like stupid smirk on her face, which is ridiculous. It's and then the lawyers, like, once many instances, but none yet. Like, so once the other lawyer starts acting up, because this other dude seems to have an uphill battle against him. So he needs to be on his best behavior. But yeah, he was not doing a great job of keeping composure. In fact, see.
What do you, Shelley, think?
I would just ask that Mr. Bob not consult with his client in the break period while examining her. That's generally not permitted. My experience.
Go ahead.
Can you see plaintiff's exhibit 2C, please, Ms. Wells?
So we're on 2C.
2C.
Okay, thank
Yeah, Kenny.
Ms. Greene, this is a tweet that we talked about a little bit earlier, just a quick question on it. You issued this on December 19th, 2020, correct?
I can't see real well, but I think that's the date.
Maybe we can make it a little larger.
That's what it says.
And what you were doing in this tweet was you were tweeting out a story from the Epoch Times about President Trump saying that the protests that were planned for January 6th were going to be, quote, wild, right?
I object. We don't have the, where's the article?
Right there under the picture of President Trump.
Does it quote that?
Yes, it says Trump, supporters should join wild protest in DC on Jan 6th.
Okay, I withdraw my objection. I can't see that. I can't
Can
see
you make it a little larger as well?
it.
You can answer the question, Representative Greene.
What was your question?
My question is, what you were doing in this tweet is you were tweeting out a story from the Epoch Times about President Trump making a statement that the protests on January 6th would be wild, right?
I tweeted an article that had the details of the dates and times.
Right. And also included President Trump's statements that he expected the demonstrations on January 6th to be wild, right?
I don't think that's what my tweet was about.
Okay, well, but you see that the article says Trump, supporters should join, quote, wild protests in DC on Jan 6th.
I don't remember tweeting that specifically for what you're saying. Those are your words.
No,
Those aren't
I'm
mine.
actually reading from what's on the,
You're speculating on why I tweeted that, but I don't
Exactly.
remember tweeting it for that specific reason.
Ms. Greene, I'm just asking questions.
I'm just answering.
And in your tweet, you mentioned earlier that
Yeah, Tag.
your word, join hashtag March for Trump in DC on January 6th, fight for Trump, that you were urging people to come to Washington for a peaceful demonstration, right?
Peaceful demonstration,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah, that word peaceful is nowhere in this tweet, right?
Pardon?
Look, that word peaceful is
I
not in
can't
this
read it, there's only half of it there.
Let's give the representative a paper copy of that. I'll make sure.
No, I can see it now, it was scrolled up just a second ago.
Okay, peaceful's not in there, is it?
Well, you know, like,
Is the word peaceful in there, Miss?
Just say no.
it does not say peaceful right
That's my
there.
question.
But you're asking me, and I said
Just
for
answer the
peaceful
question.
demonstration, just like people have the right to do in their First Amendment.
I'm asking, there's not a secret code in there that's supposed to be peaceful, right?
Well, I never mean anything for violence. I don't support violence of any kind, and I've said it over and over again. So I'm telling you
You just
that
didn't say it on this occasion, did you?
I never mean anything for violence. All of my words never, ever mean anything for violence.
We'll examine that question. Go to Plaintiff's Exhibit 2F, please.
2,
2F,
F is in Frank.
yes. And I'm looking at, yes, this top half of the exhibit. Ms. Greene, this is a tweet that you sent out on January 2nd, 2021, correct?
I'm not sure.
Okay, you don't recall this?
I don't recall tweeting that, no.
You can set that to one side. Well, let me ask this question. Does anybody tweet things on your Twitter account? Strike that. Did anybody in January of 2021 tweet things on your Twitter account without your permission?
On what day?
Any time from November of 2020 to January 6th.
I don't remember. That's difficult to answer.
Okay. You'd be surprised if somebody got into your Twitter account and tweeted something without your permission, wouldn't you?
Well, no one tweeted anything without my permission. I just don't remember who tweeted what.
Fair enough. Now, would you agree, Ms. Greene, that this tweet from January 2nd, 2021 is something that we can fairly attribute to you, being that it was tweeted on your Twitter account?
I'm sorry, I don't know.
Okay. We'll take that down. Ms. Greene, you've had your disagreements with Speaker Pelosi, is that right?
I'm not sure what you mean.
You've had political disagreements with her. You don't agree with some of the things she's done in her career, right?
Politically speaking, that would be correct.
Right. You don't agree with a lot of things she's done, right?
Politically speaking, that would be correct.
In fact, you think that Speaker Pelosi is a traitor to the country, right?
I'm not answering that question. It's speculation, it's
You've
hypothetical.
said that, haven't you, Ms. Greene, that she's a traitor to the country?
No, I haven't said that.
Okay. Please, Exhibit 5, please.
Oh, no, wait. Hold on now. I believe by not upholding the, securing the border, that violates her oath of office.
Fair enough. I'm not interested in her oath of office. I'm interested in that you said that she's a traitor to our country, right?
I object, Your Honor. She is not. I don't see the relevance of that.
Next.
Your Honor, can we give Mr. Bopp a standing objection on the First Amendment grounds?
No.
This is an effort to interrupt my examination of the witness. I am attempting to establish the witness's desire to engage in insurrection during the period January 3rd to January 6th. Now, it's true that some of the things that she said are relevant even though they occurred before January 3rd. But there's no First Amendment objection to evidence, Your Honor. She said what she said.
If there is First Amendment objections.
We don't agree.
Well,
But I didn't make my objection.
you can make the objection. You can have a standing objection.
I don't want to stand here.
Because I interrupt my flow, Your
I
Honor.
didn't-
That's
I
not
don't-
appropriate.
I don't object to everything.
Okay.
Okay, I have specific things that I think I object to, and I should be extended the courtesy to do that.
You may object at that time, but,
Plaintiff's Exhibit 5, please.
well, 5 now. 5, okay.
So I'm placing before you what we pre-marked Plaintiff's Exhibit 5, which is an article that appeared in CNN on January 26th, 2021.
Have a hard copy of this?
Yes.
Should be in the book.
I mean, does she have a hard copy? I mean, she can't read it off the screen.
We have one for her.
Good. Well, let's start using hard copies. You can't read stuff like this off the screen.
May I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes, sir. You have standing permission to approach the witness to deliver a copy of the documents as to which you're going to ask a question.
Thank you. You can scroll down a bit.
They're trying to stop her reelection.
Ms. Greene, I want to direct your attention to the bottom of the 4th page of the exhibit.
Mm-hmm.
This is a paragraph that starts out, "She's a traitor to our country." Is that
I object, Your Honor, one possible relevance that she had political disagreements that resulted in hyperbole that is commonly used.
Your Honor,
That's
this is
not-
Okay, next.
Thank you. I just want to ask a narrow question, Representative Greene. Did you say, referring to Speaker Pelosi, she's a traitor to our country, she's guilty of treason, She took an oath to protect the American citizens. She gives aid and comfort to our enemies who illegally invade our land. That's what treason is. And our law representatives and senators can be kicked out and no longer serve in our government. And it's a crime punishable by death, is what treason is. Nancy Pelosi is guilty of treason. Did you say those words?
I said, this is what I was telling you, she doesn't uphold our laws, she allows illegal, I'm
Did
answering
you say
your
those
question.
words without being instructed by him to say yes or no?
I don't agree, Your Honor. This is cross-examination.
This is
so
over.
entitled to an answer to my question. not
Representative
speech.
Greene, did you say these words that are quoted on the Bible? Did you say that?
According to the CNN article I did, I don't remember.
Do you recall saying?
I don't recall saying all of this, but I do recall having said this about I totally disagree with the border issues.
Okay,
and
ask and
believe-
answer. Next question.
Okay.
Yes. Oh.
Representative Greene, you have advocated the use of physical violence against people you disagree with, right?
I object without context, without anything.
Overruled. Go ahead. What's the question again, Mr. Chairman?
You've advocated the use of physical violence against people that you disagree with politically.
That's a question.
Yeah.
Is that true?
I don't think so. I don't know how to answer that.
Next question.
Well, have a look at what we've marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 5.
P5.
P5.
Thank you. That's the same one.
Same one.
Right. Okay, thank you. You got a copy of this, Representative?
Oh, is it the
Yes,
same one?
the same.
Okay.
And let me ask a foundational question. You understand that on social media posts like Facebook and Twitter, one of the things, well, I guess on Facebook, one of the things you can do is you can like someone's post, right?
You can like people's posts.
And when you like someone's post, that's a way of signifying that you agree with or admire, think it's correct, post is correct, right?
I don't know. I don't agree with your phrase of questioning.
Well, I'm asking you. Isn't it true that when you personally, the Greene, like someone's post, you're signifying your approval for what the post said?
No, I don't agree with how you're phrasing that question. No, I don't agree with that.
Why do you hit like?
So it's true, though, that you liked a post that suggested that, quote, a bullet to the head of Nancy Pelosi would be a quicker way to remove her as Speaker of the House than impeachment, right?
Now, you're using a CNN article, which CNN has lied about me multiple times, and you're using a CNN article
I'm asking
as
you
your
to answer my
evidence.
question. Did
True.
you like a post that said it's quicker, that a bullet to the head would be a quicker way to remove Nancy Pelosi from the role of
I
Speaker?
have had many people manage my social media account over the years. I have no idea who liked that.
Okay. Are you testifying under oath it wasn't you? Just want to be clear on that.
I am testifying. I have no idea who liked that comment.
Fair enough.
And we take you back live now to a hearing to determine whether Georgia Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene should be allowed to run for re-election to Congress. We've heard at least an hour of her testimony with questions from opposing counsel. At the conclusion of the
Yeah, we're about to get back. They're about to come back. But yo, that was the crazy part. Like, this is stuff she said. So she started off trying to lie, like, no, I didn't say that. And then she realized, like, yeah, you said that. You said all of that stuff. All of that. Oh, hit the like. Thanks, Joe. She's like, yeah, what does the staff man liked it? I didn't like it. She did, but that's the point. She is unprofessional. She's one of the, like I said, I wrote earlier, she's all show, no substance. She does not know what her job is. She does not know the limits of her job. She does no research. This is the woman who challenged AOC to a debate on basically a resolution that AOC had written that was like under 5 pages long. It's like under 5 pages long. She challenged AOC on a debate to that, but she had never read it. She said, okay, yeah, as soon as I read it. Like, wait a minute. You're challenging AOC to debate on something you haven't read yet? Like, yeah, this woman is not, she's not the sharpest tool in the shed. She is not. Like, she lied several times and admitted to it, but the lawyer didn't grasp it. However, he was, yeah. Like, at that point, because she's like, no, I didn't say that. Wait a minute. Does she realize? Like, because there's so much stuff that she's done on tape. So, like, she can play around and pretend like, oh, I didn't say that. Or that she has to think, oh, wait, no, I said that in front of the cameras. Because I thought that was going to make me look good. Listen, as much as I disagree with the policy, here's why I think AOC would have won. Because AOC actually knew what was in the resolution. That's why AOC would have won. I hear you, Jimmy James. But I think AOC, because like she literally says, I want to debate you. And then she's like, well, as soon as I read it. And people are like, what? Like, cause like I read it, like it was short. It wasn't like these 72-page, 300-page bills. It was like a 5-6 page resolution, and she hadn't even read it. She campaigned against it, but she hadn't even read it. Like, this is okay. They're about to come in. Well, listen, here's the thing. All he had to ask her is, why did you like it? That's all he did. They're back. They're okay. Yeah, the judge is back. Okay.
Mr. Joe? Good afternoon. I want to go back and answer a couple narrow questions, and then we'll move to another topic. The Twitter handle @MTGreene. That's your Twitter handle, right? Or it was before your account was suspended.
Before my account was permanently banned.
Got it. And during the period from January 3rd to January 6th, did you or anybody in your office, your congressional office, provide tours, either formally or informally, to people of the U.S. Capitol?
No, the only people that were with me was my husband and my children.
That would be on the 3rd, is that right?
They were, I don't recall the exact days. I believe they went back to Georgia on the 4th.
Okay. I'm trying to capture the period from January 3rd when you were sworn in until January 6th. At any time during that period, did anybody in your office provide tours to anybody from the U.S. Capitol?
No.
Okay. And during that period, did anybody on your campaign staff, or did you authorize the provision of funds, money, to people who were planning a demonstration on January 6th?
I don't think so. I don't recall that at all.
If you wanted to know the answer to that question, who would you ask?
I would have to talk to people in my campaign, but I don't think we did any. How would we have done that? We didn't do anything like that.
During that same period of January 3rd to January 6th, did you or anybody on your campaign or congressional staff provide any information of any sort to anyone in connection with January 6th demonstrations?
I don't think so. I have no idea. I don't think so.
And did you have members of the public visit your congressional office between January 3rd and January 6th?
No.
And during that period from January 3rd to January 6th, did anyone from your congressional office or your campaign provide maps or the location of offices within the Capitol?
No. We got our keys to my office on January 3rd. I couldn't even find where the bathroom was most of the time.
You know why I'm asking these questions, don't you, Representative Greene?
I have no idea why you're asking these questions.
What?
Representative Greene, you're familiar with the significance of the year 1776 in U.S. history, right?
Yes.
1776 is the year that the Declaration of Independence was signed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was a statement by representatives of the 13 colonies that they were no longer subject to the authority of the British Crown, right?
They were declared, it was a Declaration of Independence from the British Crown.
Right. And in fact, you may recall this from your studies, the Declaration of Independence refers to King George as tyrant, right?
I'm sure it may say that somewhere in the history books. I don't have the history books in front of me, and I don't know which one you're referring to, but.
Well, I'm referring to the Declaration of Independence. That's the one that says that King George was a tyrant, unfit to be a ruler of free people.
Are you quoting the Declaration?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you'll accept that from me, won't you?
If you're quoting it.
Okay. And you would agree that when a government acts tyrannically, then it's unfit to be the ruler of the free people.
We're typically against tyrannical governments here.
Typically?
The people who wrote the Declaration of Independence, they were working with other people in the colonies to express their independence from Britain, right?
I wasn't alive back then, but there's the history. I'm not a history expert, but as
You've heard of the American Revolution, haven't you?
of course I have, yes.
And you know that the American Revolution was a violent rebellion against British rule in colonies.
Yes.
And they were trying to overthrow the government in Britain that was ruling the colonies, right?
America was trying to start our own government.
Right. And to do that, they had to get rid of the British colonial officials who were here in America and throw them out.
Yes.
And they viewed the British officials here and the Crown in Britain as a tyrannical government. Right?
Yes.
Okay. That was an insurrection. Would you agree? The American Revolution was an insurrection against the government.
I don't believe it. I don't know where it said that.
Well, I'm asking you whether or not you agree that the American Revolution was an insurrection against the British government.
I believe it was the American Revolution it's part of our history where we separated from the Crown and started our own government here.
Right. And the separation was brought about by violence, right?
There was a Revolutionary War, yes.
And the violence, the colonists were justified in using violence to get rid of the tyrannical government of Britain, their officials in America.
Is that your opinion? I assume
I'm
so.
asking you.
It was a Revolutionary War. It was violent.
Now, you've actually talked publicly about the Declaration of Independence calling for the overthrow of tyrannical governments, right? That's something you've discussed publicly.
Are you referencing to something I've said somewhere?
Well, do you recall talking about that topic?
I've talked about the Declaration of Independence, but I don't know what occasion you're referring to.
Okay. Well, one of the occasions where you talked about the Declaration of Independence was in connection with January 6th, right?
I don't know.
Okay. Let's go to plaintiff's 15, please. Ms. Greene, I'm going to play a short clip and ask if that's you speaking on the video. Okay?
What's the date on this? I can't read it from here.
October 26th, 2021. Sorry, October 26th, 2021.
October 26th, 2021. Right. If you could play the clip, please.
It's a riot at the Capitol. And if you think about what our Declaration of Independence says, it says to overthrow tyrants.
That's your statement, right?
I don't believe it was finished, but that was me.
Oh God.
I don't recall. I don't know
Oh,
the rest of what I
God.
said because it was cut off.
But in that statement that we looked at,
Oh God.
comparing the overthrow of the British Crown in America in 1776 to January
Oh
6th.
God.
I don't know what my statement was because it was cut off.
Now, you talked about the need for people to have guns in order to secure their rights against the tyrannical government, right?
Yes, we have a Second Amendment for a good reason.
Right. And the good reason is, in case they need to overthrow their government, they can use their guns to do that.
We have you're twisting things around. Could you rephrase your question, please?
Well, I'm reacting to your answer. You said we have a Second Amendment,
On the news.
and I said that the reason, from your point of view, that there is a Second Amendment is so that people can overthrow their government by violent means with guns.
That's not the exact purpose. We defend ourselves. Say if if you're being attacked, a gun is a tool to defend yourself.
Right. But one of the things it could be used for, strike that. Let's go to PX6. Now, I'm going to play a video here and ask a couple questions about it. Well, first, let me just ask you, do you recall giving an interview as reflected on PX6 in October of 2020, just about a week before the election, at something called the Relic Hunter Firearms Shop?
Mm-hmm. I vaguely remember.
Okay, and that's you on the left, and the gentleman on the right is the owner of the shop. Am I right about that?
No.
Okay, who's that? Just so I know.
Mr. Dorr.
Who's Mr. Dorr?
He's a gun rights activist and just someone I know.
Got it. And it's backwards because of the video, but Mr. Dorr's t-shirt says, let's say, I am 1,776% sure that no one is taking my guns. Do you agree that that's what it says?
Yes.
Okay. So let's play the video.
I object to playing this. I had, watch this, right in the middle, there was a section cut off, right in the middle.
Well, let's see.
So it has been edited, and who's the source of this?
Source of this is Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's earned with the price of blood. That's what we're going to be talking about.
No, who's the source of the video?
Where did we get this? From YouTube. It was on YouTube. YouTube.
YouTube.
It
Okay.
says Robert Jones.
Well, I know you don't need to see it, but.
We'll see it, and you could maybe, obviously, it's difficult to cross-examine the video, but it's certainly possible to say what's the.
I can ask a lot of questions about it, Judge, and she can tell us if it's.
Yeah, you can, as best you can. Go ahead.
But
Let
here's
me
the deal.
stop. We're not watching the whole thing. We're picking up in the middle of it. Is that correct?
It's a minute and 9 seconds, Your Honor.
No, what I'm asking is, all I see is this shirt. I looked like we were halfway into the video. That's why I was confused. We started beginning.
Yeah.
We played the whole thing.
Can we go back as well to the the very beginning.
Yeah, let's start it up again, please.
But here's the deal, if this generation doesn't stand up and defend freedom, it's gone. And once it's gone, freedom doesn't come back by itself. The only way you get your freedoms back is it's earned with the price of blood. We can't be too busy or too complacent or too worried about offending someone anymore. There's no more excuses. This is it. November 3rd, freedom is on the ballot. You have a choice of either voting for freedom by voting for Donald J. Trump for president again for 4 more years, voting Republican straight down your ballot, or you're going to vote for socialism and vote to completely end America as we know it. And this is no joke. They do not want you to be able to defend yourself, because if you can defend yourself, guess what? Then you can stop a tyrannical government. However, if they take away your guns, then you can't, not only can you never stop a tyrannical government, you can never even defend yourself if someone is breaking in your home. And that's the reality. This is where we are today in 2020.
Okay, Mother Joe. Let me, it started off with a cut sentence when she said, but,
That's clearly it.
okay, so whatever she said before is wiped out. And then you saw 3 times when it was cut.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And Mother Jones, I'm sorry, I am not going to rely upon them to give an accurate depiction.
Well, we can proceed with questioning. Witness can respond. I mean, it is the witness, it is statement she made.
Thank you.
She can respond. So go ahead.
Well, let's establish that. Representative Greene, this is a statement that you made in an interview with Mr. Dorr in October of 2020, right?
That is a very partial cut off and pasted statement. That is me speaking, but my sentences are cut off. My full message is not there.
Okay. And in that statement, what you say is if you can defend yourself, you can stop a tyrannical government. However, if they take away your guns, you can never stop a tyrannical government, right?
Correct?
Okay. And you believe that?
Absolutely.
Okay. And in fact, what was done in 1776 was to stop a tyrannical government with guns. Fair?
Sure, yeah.
And that was to use violence against a tyrannical government. Get that clear.
No, they were trying to get rid of a tyrannical government. There was a lot of, there was a big process. There was a big buildup there before the Revolutionary War. The whole purpose was not to use guns for violence,
What did you
is the
mean?
narrative that you're trying to push here.
What did you mean when you said that once you lose your freedom, it has to be earned with the price of blood?
Well, I've always said I'm against violence, and I've always said I never want to see a war in this country. Never. I've said that over and over again in many speeches, and the reason why I say that is because I don't want to see war here on American soil. I have 3 children that are young adults, and I never want to see my children fighting a war, earning back our freedoms. And I've said that. That's what I'm talking about.
It wasn't actually.
Earned with the price of blood is a reference to violence.
The price of blood is the unfortunate and tragic cost of war. And that's what happened in the Revolutionary War. And that's what I'm talking about.
And you know that the term 1776 is actually a term that's sometimes used in politics today.
I don't know if you've noticed our state seal here in Georgia. I know you're not from Georgia, but as you can see, we enjoy our history and we're proud of our freedoms. 1776 is on our state seal.
Right. And
She does it.
It's also a term that's used in political discourse in America today.
I don't use it as a term of violence.
You use it as a term, right?
I have used it as a term, but I do not use it as a term of violence, as you're trying to push.
We're not up to that yet. You'll have your chance
I
to answer
understand.
the question you want to answer. But you have to start by answering my question, okay? You acknowledge that 1776 is a term that's used in political discourse today.
Look at the judge.
Yes.
And in fact, one of the examples of 1776 being used in political discourse today is the T-shirt that Mr. Dorr was wearing in the interview that we just saw, right?
Oh, God.
We saw 1776 backwards on his t-shirt on that cut up video.
Right.
Yes.
And you understood that T-shirt to mean that people need to possess firearms in order to oppose a tyrannical government.
I don't recall I don't remember seeing his t-shirt that day when I saw him. The only time I'm paying attention to it is now because you're drawing the
Okay,
reference.
but as you sit here today, you understand that what that T-shirt is conveying as a political message is that people need to possess firearms in order to oppose a tyrannical government.
I don't necessarily understand what you're trying to say.
I'm just asking whether you have that understanding or not.
I think you're more trying to push a narrative and push words in my mouth, and I don't agree with what you're saying necessarily.
Oh,
As you
God.
sit here today for Greene, you know that term 1776 has been used in connection with events of January 6, 2001.
I guess so. I don't know.
Well, you yourself have used the
God.
term 1776 to describe the events of January 6, 2021.
I don't recall, but if you say,
Let's go to PX 27, please, Ms. Wells.
You got to be looking at the judge. The judge has been going through it.
Your Honor has been admitted into evidence.
Right.
Ms. Wells, you play that.
No, it wasn't actually planned, but President Trump knows how much I support him. He knows how much I support our district, Georgia's 14th district. And so I was happy to go up there and encourage our voters to get out and vote. We can't allow our two Republican senators lose their seats to two radical socialist Democrats. So I was excited to get up there and also cheer on Senator Kelly Loeffler for announcing last night that she'll be objecting to this fraudulent stolen election tomorrow on January 6th. And I'm very excited that both of us women representing Georgians will be fighting for President Trump and fighting for the integrity of our elections tomorrow.
What is your plan tomorrow? How do you plan to handle what could possibly go down in this joint session of Congress tomorrow? What are you prepared for?
Well, I'll echo the words of many of my colleagues as we were just meeting together in our GOP conference meeting this morning. This is our 1776 moment.
That's your statement on January 5th, 2021.
I don't know the date. I don't recall, but now that I've seen it, what was the date of the video?
January 5th, 2021. But
Okay.
you're not taking my word for it. We can play it back. And
He says
you'll see
tomorrow.
what I'm talking about that tomorrow is the 6th.
Okay, yes.
Okay. And this is 2 days after you took the oath of office to be a representative from the 14th Congressional District, right?
Yes.
And you used the term 1776 to describe, in response to a question from the Newsmax broadcaster, right?
I was speaking about objecting.
Well, he asked you, what is your plan? What are you prepared to have go down tomorrow on January 6th? And your response was, tomorrow is our 1776 moment,
I was
right?
talking about the courage to object.
And you said you were echoing the words of your Republican colleagues. Was the term 1776 used by your Republican colleagues?
I don't recall. That was the video, but I don't recall.
In fact, Representative Boebert has used the term 1776 to describe the events of January 6th, hasn't she?
I don't recall. I have no idea.
Let's go to PX 9E, please.
PX 9E.
9E.
Thank you.
You recall seeing a tweet from Representative Boebert from Colorado at 8:30 in the morning on January 6, 2001. Today is 1776.
I don't remember seeing this. I see it now, if that's her tweet.
Do you have any doubt that Representative Boebert used the term 1776 to describe the events of January 6th?
I don't know.
Let's go back to PX 27, please. So that was an interview that you gave to Newsmax, right?
That's what it said on the screen, Newsmax.
Well, you're not denying that.
No, I just said I don't even remember the interview until we've seen it.
Okay. And that interview was posted that day on your Facebook page.
I don't remember.
We have that. Yeah. We'll come back to that. Now, what you said, this is our 1776 moment. You knew that some of the people who felt that Donald Trump was the rightful winner of the 2020 election used that term to refer to the possibility of violence on January 6th, 2021.
No, I never heard anyone talking about violence for January 6th.
You've never
Absolutely
heard
not.
You've never heard about anyone using the term 1776 to refer to the possibility.
I would never
That's
use.
my question, Representative.
Okay, excuse me, sorry.
I don't mean to cut you off.
No, I apologize. Yes.
You've never heard anybody use the term 1776 as a code word for violence to occur on January 6, 2021.
No, absolutely not.
You're familiar with a group called the Proud Boys?
I've heard of them.
And you know that the Proud Boys, it has developed, had a written plan for conduct on January 6, 2021, right?
No, I did not know that.
The Proud Boys are an extremist, violent group. You would agree with that?
I don't know much about the Proud Boys.
You've never heard that they're a violent extremist group?
I've heard about them. I don't know what they do. I don't know much about the Proud Boys.
You haven't heard that the written plan attributed to the Proud Boys for January 6th was called 1776 returns.
No, I have no idea anything about that.
Never heard that. Okay. Let's pull up PX 39. This is an article that appeared in the New York Times on March 14, 2020, entitled "Documented Jan 6 Case Shows Plan to Storm Government Buildings." Do you see this document?
I've never seen it, no.
Let me get you a copy so you can have a look. Do you need the number? It's 31. Ms. Greene, did you see a story in the New York Times or any other publication or media outlet in March of 2022 about Proud Boys having a written plan to storm government buildings on January 6th?
No, I've never, I don't recall, never heard anything about it.
Never heard of that. Never heard that that was called 1776 returns, that plan that the government alleges Proud Boys had to storm government buildings.
No, I've never heard of it.
You were aware prior to January 6th that 1776 referred to an idea or a plan for people who were opposed to the certification of the Electoral College vote to infiltrate and occupy buildings in DC.
No,
Never heard that.
no.
And you were aware prior to January 6, 2021, that 1776 was a term that people were using to describe a plan or an idea to physically interfere and prevent the Electoral College vote.
No, I don't know anything about that.
Okay, we can put that to one side. We talked a little bit about a person named Allie Alexander this morning. Do you remember that testimony?
Mm-hmm.
And you said it's somebody you've met on a number of occasions. Is that fair?
I've seen him a couple times. I don't remember when, and it's not someone I know.
Let's pull up 67, please. Yeah, 67 as well.
Several times.
Let's just start. I'm going to ask you to have a look at just the first 10 seconds of the video. It's just a person not even speaking, and tell me if you can identify that person. Okay.
That's Ollie Alexander.
Let's go, thank you. Let's go to minute 11:20. This is a rather long clip, and I'm going to take you to the middle of it, around 11 minutes and 20 seconds.
For anything, go ahead. Members of Congress are on a committee. Congressman Steve King was the only one who was yanked off of all committees. So that's not true. So avoid the disinformation, avoid the division. We are here to continue pressing forward. Yeah, Congresswoman Marjorie Greene, my favorite, she's coming in, a friend of mine, she's coming in, she'll be whatever. Someone's trying to tell me.
You can stop it there. You see that Mr. Alexander describes you as his favorite, right? You heard him say that.
That's what he said. I just saw it.
Okay. Do you have any explanation for why you would feel that way?
Maybe he likes the work I do. I don't know. I don't really know him that well. I've only met him a couple of times.
He describes himself as you as a friend of his, right? That's what he
Those
said.
were his words.
Right, that's what he said. Is he lying when he describes himself as a friend of yours?
I wouldn't call him a friend. I do not know him. I've only met him a couple of times.
Okay. So if he says he was a friend of yours, he would be lying.
Sometimes people say things on videos for their followers or to maybe, I don't know. That's what he said. I don't know him. I've only met him a couple of times.
In fact, Mr. Alexander was very active on Twitter in the post-election 2020 period up until January 6th. Isn't that right?
I don't know. I don't follow his account.
Let's go to well, I think we've established that during that post-election period from November when you were elected until January 6th, one of the things you were doing was organizing people in Congress to file objections to the Electoral College count, right?
Yes, working very hard on objecting.
Okay. Let's go to PX3, please. So if we could scroll it up so that we can see the bottom half first. Yeah. Further down first. I'll get you a paper copy. Ms. Greene, I want to focus your attention on the box in the middle of the page. It says Marjorie Taylor GRE ... 12/30/20. You see that?
Yes.
And that's a Twitter comment that you made on December 30th, 2020, right?
I don't recall making that tweet,
Um,
but that's what this piece of paper says.
Do you have any doubt that a tweet from your account was issued on December 30th, 2020? That said, quote, word on the Hill is that Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi could be working together on a rules change deal to block our Electoral College certification objection.
I don't recall this tweet.
My question is a little bit different. Do you have any doubt that this is a tweet from your account?
I don't know.
Do you recall in late December 2020 hearing a rumor on Capitol Hill about a deal between Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi to create a rules change so as to block the objections to the Electoral College count?
I can't really remember. It's been 16 months or so ago.
That would be pretty important, wouldn't it? If they changed the rules so that you couldn't object to the Electoral College count, right?
It would have been, but there was no rule change. We were still able to object, or at least we tried anyways.
But by this point in December of 2020, your focus was on objecting to the Electoral College count in Congress, right?
Yes, finding evidence of voter fraud and to object, yes.
And if there had been rumors of a rule change, that would be something that would be important for you to tweet out and talk about publicly.
It possibly would have been. I just don't remember this tweet. I don't remember it.
You know that Ali Alexander has responded to tweets that you've sent out over the years, right?
I don't know. I have no idea who retweets and who responds. That's not something that I spend much time at all looking at.
You spent some time looking at it, don't you, Representative Greene? Who responds to your tweets?
Occasionally, I have some time and I look at who responds, but I do not know what he has responded, what he has tweeted or retweeted.
Okay. And the reason that you look at responses to your tweets is you want to see how what you said is being taken on board by other people. Is that fair?
Actually, I don't really look at comments on Twitter because they're filled with a lot of bots and a lot of hateful people. And I don't like to read things like that. So I don't read many comments, hardly ever.
Well, you read Mr. Alexander's response to your December 30th tweet that's shown in Exhibit 3, right? And just to read it out loud, what he writes is, if they do this, everyone can guess what me and 500,000 others will do to that building. 1776 is always an option. You read that, didn't you?
If this is his Twitter, I see it on the screen. I have no idea. Those are his words, I guess. I have no idea.
Well, as you sit here today, you understand that what Mr. Alexander was referring to was not legal objections on the floor of the Congress, right?
No, I don't know what he's referring to.
And you knew back then that what Mr. Alexander was responding to your tweet was to say, if they make a rules change and Congresswoman Taylor Greene can't object, we're going to go into the Capitol and do violence.
I have no idea. I don't know anything about this.
And that term 1776 is the way Mr. Alexander was conveying that to his listeners or his readers.
I have no idea. Again, I don't know anything about this. I've never seen it before.
Between January 3rd and January 6th, 2021, Ms. Greene, you viewed the Electoral College certification of Joe Biden as a blow to freedom. Is that fair?
I viewed it as we needed to object because there was so much evidence and so many people had signed their name. Thousands of people had signed their name on affidavits saying they witnessed voter fraud. And that meant something to me because I care about the people and I care about their votes and I care about our election integrity.
My question is whether you viewed it as a blow to freedom if the Electoral College certification of Joe Biden were completed.
I don't agree with your wording.
Okay. Because once freedom is gone, it doesn't come back by itself, right?
I don't agree with your wording.
The only way you can get freedom back is when it's earned with the price of blood. Those are your words, right?
You're twisting my words and creating a narrative that you're trying to make. That's not my narrative. That's not what I said.
Well,
That's not what I meant for
27,
that.
2020, that's what you said and that's what you meant, right?
I'm sorry.
Yeah. On October 27, 2020, when you did the interview with Mr. Doerr, when you said the only way to get freedoms back is when it's earned with blood. That's what you meant, right?
Well, you showed a video that's chopped up that doesn't show even my full sentences. So no, I don't agree with what you're saying.
Do you have any explanation, Representative Greene, for why it is that on January 5th, the day before January 6th, you described January 6th as our 1776 moment?
I don't remember. Seeing this interview is the first time I've seen it in a long time. I don't remember.
Now, prior to January 6, 2021, you spoke publicly on your Facebook page about the transfer of power that would occur on January 6th. You recall that?
I don't recall.
Okay. You said on a video on your Facebook page that the peaceful transfer of power ought not be allowed to occur.
I don't recall.
Yeah.
You said that the peaceful transfer of power cannot be allowed to occur because Joe Biden didn't win the 2020 election, right?
I don't recall.
Let's go to the videotape. Can we start with? So it's probably best if I explain this. There are two versions of this, and I'm going to ask about both of them. You can tell me if you think they've been chopped up in any way. They have been chopped up, that's true. But you'll tell me whether you were misinterpreted, okay? The first one is PF 66. Yes, can you play that one?
Okay, just a second. What's the date and the source?
The source is, it was something, Ms. Greene's Facebook page is not available. This is something that was captured by someone else and posted on another Facebook page.
Where it says it's from her Facebook page.
Yes, I believe it does. 66, is 66 has been admitted, Your Honor, is that?
Yeah, it's been admitted for what it's worth.
Well, yeah, and what is the date?
We're gonna ask your client that.
Okay.
And this is an important time in our history. We can't allow this just to be gone, just to let it go. You can't allow it to just transfer power peacefully like Joe Biden wants and allow him to become our president, because he did not win this election. It's being stolen and the evidence is there.
So that's you, right, Ms. Greene?
Yes, that's me.
And when you say we can't allow it, we can't just let it go, the it in that phrase is to have Joe Biden declared the winner of the 2020 presidential election.
You are showing a video where it doesn't give us any reference beforehand and it doesn't give us any reference afterwards. So it's not really my complete, it's hard to get an understanding of what I was saying.
Okay, so your answer is you don't know what you're referring to.
I don't. We're watching a partial video and a partial statement of clearly an interview I was doing. I don't know what date it was on, and it's definitely off someone else's Twitter or Facebook. I can't see it from here.
Well, that's you saying you can't allow it to transfer power peacefully like Joe Biden wants and allow him to become our president because he did not win this election. That's you saying that, right?
That's the partial statement on that video.
Okay, can we pull up,
But do we see the whole thing?
we can run the rest of it.
Let's see the whole thing.
Sure, and there's another one on top of it, so let's do
I
it.
mean, we said they're different. I want to be sure that she has an opportunity to see what the difference
Can I
is.
make a suggestion, Your Honor? Let's go back to the beginning of this one, and then we'll play it all the way through.
That would be good. I agree. Let's do that.
And this is an important time in our history. We can't allow this just to be gone, just to let it go. You can't allow it to just transfer power peacefully like Joe Biden wants and allow him to become our president, because he did not win this election. It's being stolen and the evidence is there. The mainstream media for 4 years talked about Russian collusion, conspiracy theories, and lies, and demanded investigations nonstop into Russian collusion, nonstop. But yet they refused to. And this is an important time in our history.
Is that where it ended? Just sort of got off there. Okay, let's show the witness PS 12. Let me hold off on that for 1 second. This video that we just saw, which we marked as plaintiff 66, that's a video that you made in anticipation of objecting to the Electoral College count in favor of Joe Biden, right?
I don't know. I don't see a date. It's not from my specific Facebook page. It appears to be on someone else's.
Oh, let's see the other video. 12.
And where's this from?
This is also, it's the same thing. It was taken, I believe, off of the video, off the Facebook page of the client, of the congresswoman, but let's ask.
But where'd y'all get it?
It's off the Facebook, off of the Republican Accountability Project.
Okay, so this is a secondary source that was copied, but that's where you got it from.
Yeah,
So this is a different version.
Correct.
Okay. You want to go ahead and play it?
Hold on 1 second. And this one is also admitted into evidence, Your Honor,
For what it's worth.
for what it's worth.
America reelected Donald J. Trump for 4 more years. You can't allow it to just transfer power peacefully like Joe Biden wants and allow him to become our president,
because he did not win this election. It's being stolen and the evidence is there. There's a large group of us, we're organizing an effort to object to the electoral college votes for Joe Biden in key states where there's real evidence that this election has been stolen. I am very convicted in what we're going to be doing on January 6th, and it's historic, and I feel it's very, very important. On January 6th, if you're able, there are going to be possibly 1 million or more people coming to Washington to be there for this historic event. It's critical for everyone to show up and show the nation who we are. We aren't a people that are going to go quietly into the night. We are not a people that are going to be thrust into socialism without stopping it.
Now that you've seen that clip, Representative Greene, do you agree that this is a video that you created in anticipation of objecting to the Electoral College vote on January 6th?
This video on the Democrat leftist PAC Republican accountability group that looks to be chopped up and spliced, that video, that's not my full video.
Listen to my question.
Yes.
The words that are shown that you're speaking on the screen, those are things that you were talking about in anticipation of objecting to the Electoral College count vote on the floor of Congress, right?
The only thing I was working on was objecting, but again, that's a cut and spliced video.
And when you said we're organizing an effort to object to the Electoral College votes on video, the we were members of Congress, right?
Well, members of Congress are the only ones that can object. That's part of our ability. That's what we're allowed to do lawfully.
Right. Exactly. And making objections is, in fact, by members of Congress, is part of the lawful transfer of power, right?
Objecting is part of the electoral count process. Democrats did it with the past 3 Republican presidents that were elected. They objected, and I'm sure there was a lot of planning that went into that and discussion. We put a lot of planning, a lot of work into it, and as you can see, we talked about it.
So when you were talking about we can't allow it to happen, you can't just let it go. You can't allow it to transfer power peacefully like Joe Biden wants and allow him to become our president because he didn't win. You weren't talking about objections on the floor of the Congress, were you?
What I believe what I was referencing is we can't allow the electoral count to happen without objecting. That I felt it was our dutiful responsibility to object on behalf of the large amount of voter fraud and the people who truly felt like that there was big problems in our elections.
And you're testifying under oath that that's what you meant when you said you can't allow it to transfer power peacefully like Joe Biden wants and allow him to become our president. That was a reference to
Without objecting.
Of course, you don't say anything in that part of the video about objections on the floor of the Congress, right? Would you like to see it again?
I believe the video, I said objecting.
But in the sentence where you said you can't allow it to transfer power peacefully like Joe Biden wants and allow him to become our president because he didn't win the election, you don't say anything in that sentence about objections on the floor of the Congress.
Sir, we just saw 2 videos that are cut and clipped, and my sentences aren't even completed. I think the first video started with me saying "and," meaning it was starting into partially something I was already saying. What I was, from the video and my recollection from watching him just then, it was purely talking about objecting.
One of the things that you say in these videos is that you call upon people to come to Washington on January 6th, right?
I don't remember every single word that we just watched.
Let's look at it again. I think P12 is the one that includes that.
America reelected Donald J. Trump for 4 more years. You can't allow it to just transfer power peacefully like Joe Biden wants and allow him to become our president because he did not win this election. It's being stolen and the evidence is there. There's a large group of us, we're organizing an effort to object to the electoral college votes for Joe Biden in key states where there's real evidence that this election has been stolen. I am very convicted in what we're going to be doing on January 6th, and it's historic, and I feel it's very, very important. On January 6th, if you're able, there are going to be possibly 1 million or more people coming to Washington to be there for this historic event. It's critical for everyone to show up and show.
So in that segment, Representative Greene, you're asking people to come to Washington on January 6th.
In this video, which I saw jump 3 times, which means it's been cut and spliced, yes, I did talk about people coming there to support our objection, peacefully support our objection, support President Trump.
How did you know that there might be 1 million or more people coming to Washington on January 6th? Did you just make that up, or somebody like that?
I believe those were the numbers being talked about at the time.
By
The media, and just different
people who were planning
sources.
the demonstrations?
I have no idea. I think I saw that on the news.
And what you said is it's critical for everyone to show up, right? That's what we saw.
Supporting, peacefully supporting our objection. That's the only thing I was interested in doing and planning is objecting.
Now, the last thing you say in the video is, we aren't the people that are gonna go quietly into the night. Do you recall that part?
Yes,
Now, that phrase, we aren't the people that are gonna go quietly into the night, that's not something that you came up with on your own, is it?
I have no idea what you mean.
Well, that's something that you borrowed from a movie script, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You borrowed that line from the movie Independence Day, right?
No.
Wow. Let's go to the videotape as well.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, the timestamp is 1:08 to 1:44. Hold on one second. You've seen the movie Independence Day, right?
I've seen it before.
It's a great movie, right?
I think it's probably a great movie. I haven't watched movies in a long time, but from what I remember, it's a great movie.
This is the one about the aliens who come to the world, and then there's a big battle on July 4th to ward them off, right?
You are giving us quite the entertainment today. Thank you.
Okay. And there's a scene in that movie where the president, the guy who's playing the president of the United States, addresses the fighter pilots who are about to go into battle against the aliens. Remember that scene?
I do not remember now, but I'm sure you're going to show us.
Yeah.
Can we see the whole thing?
Yeah, can we watch the whole movie? What's a great scene?
And the phrase that the actor uses there is, "We will not go quietly into the night." You heard that.
Heard it just now, yes.
And that's the exact phrase that you use in the video that we saw that was previous exhibit. We aren't the people that are going to go quietly into the night.
I don't view courtrooms and politics as Hollywood like you do. That is not the first person I'm sure that said that and won't be the last. And I don't recall getting any inspiration from this Hollywood movie like you're suggesting.
So you were not communicating and referencing that film that January 6th was going to be a new kind of independence film.
All I was talking about is objecting and standing up for people's votes in our elections.
By the way, Independence Day is July 4th, right?
Yes,
It's July 4th of 1776, right?
that's right.
Your Honor, this might be a good time to break if we're on schedule.
How, well,
I've got a short piece left, but it's up to you.
I don't need a break.
let's keep going, great. I mean, again, if we're talking, 30 minutes, we're talking 2 hours.
Yeah, no, I would fix 2 hours. Ms. Greene, did you advocate to President Trump to impose martial law as a way to remain in power?
I don't recall.
So you're not denying you did it, you just don't remember.
I don't remember.
Okay. And do you agree that the storming of the Capitol on January 6th is something that's despicable?
Yes, very unhappy about it.
Now, we talked earlier about a fellow named Anthony Aguero, right?
You brought up Anthony Aguero earlier.
Right.
Yes.
And he's somebody who you know, yes?
Yes.
He's somebody who you've spent a fair amount of time with, is that fair?
Not much time, no.
He's a friend of yours,
Someone that I do know, yes.
and you consider him a friend.
Someone I hardly ever talk to, but someone I have known for a few years.
Okay. And he is a friend of yours, right?
A distant friend, someone I know.
He
she's a
refers to you as one of his closest friends. You've heard that, right?
I have not.
Okay. And you refer to him as amazing, right?
He does a lot of great work down at the border showing the illegal invasion constantly happening at our southern border. I think that's amazing, the footage that he shows and exposes.
Okay. And you know that Mr. Aguero entered the Capitol the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2001, right?
I had heard that sometime after January 6th.
And you've seen a picture of him in the middle of the crowd in the Capitol Rotunda on January 6, 2020.
No, I have not seen that picture.
Let's have a look at PX 13B, please. Make that a little bit bigger. Representative Greene, is that man in the red circle on the left of our exhibit 13B, is that Mr. Aguero?
I don't know, I can't really tell.
If I told you that it was reported that that was Mr. Aguero and that he acknowledged that publicly, would that help you discern if that's who that is?
I don't really buy a whole lot of what you say. You've been using CNN and Mother Jones and other terrible sources as your sources and showing Hollywood movies. So, but that's what you're trying to say now, but I don't know if that's him or not.
I'm just asking whether if I suggested to you that he's acknowledged publicly that that's him in the Capitol Rotunda, would that help you identify him as your friend, Mr. Aguero?
I don't see your evidence of him acknowledging that that's him.
Okay. I think we can probably do something with that. Let's see, 13, please. I have it here.
Welcome, Jay.
I showed you something from CNN.
Hold on. Let me see. I just lost it. me get the feedback up. And we're back.
Warner media company that he works with. So I
We're
have
back.
no
We're
idea
back.
about what, I have no clue about it.
Okay. Were you aware that he was going to be, in his capacity, I guess, as a member of the press, present on January 6th in Washington for the demonstrations that were planned?
No, I was not aware.
Did he communicate with any member of your staff in any way, by text or email, cell phone, about the fact that he'd be coming to Washington?
Not to my knowledge, no.
Did you ever discuss with Mr. Aguero the idea that on January 6th, as part of the demonstration, the U.S. Capitol was going to be flooded by people?
No, because the only thing I was working on objecting and had no expectation of anything that happened on January 6th.
Well, you knew there were going to be demonstrations, right?
I knew there was a peaceful march planned.
On January 6th itself, were you in contact with anyone who was involved in what you described as the peaceful march that occurred that day?
No,
Was anybody from your staff, congressional staff, or your campaign staff in touch by cell phone, text, email with anybody who was involved in the day's demonstrations?
not of my knowledge.
At any time on January 6th, did you disclose to anyone outside the Capitol your location in the Capitol during that day's events?
I texted my family and told them I was safe.
Anybody other than family?
No,
When on January 6th did you first learn that people were entering the United States Capitol unlawfully that day?
when we were in the House chamber, we were starting the electoral count, and we went on lockdown, and that's when I first learned of it. I was shocked.
And do you know what time of day that was?
I don't know the exact time.
And when you went on lockdown, as you described it, why don't you tell us what that meant? What you mean by that?
They had to lock all the doors in the House chamber, and they told us that it was on lockdown and that we could choose to leave or stay inside, and it would be safer inside. And so I stayed inside.
And when you say you stayed inside, where did you stay?
Inside the House chamber.
And during that time that you were on in lockdown, as you put it, on the House floor, you said you were in touch with your family to tell them you were safe?
Not at that time, no.
When did that happen in the day?
Sometime later after we were evacuated.
And where were you evacuated to?
I can't disclose that location.
Somewhere in the Capitol.
Mhm.
And when you were in that other location in the Capitol, I presume that would be a secure location, is that right?
Yes,
Did you have any communication, either by phone, by text, some other way, with anybody who was outside the room, outside the secure location you were in, other than your family?
not that I recall, no.
And when you were notified that people had entered the Capitol illegally, did you also understand at that point that there had been violence at the Capitol?
I only knew what I was told. I'd heard a gunshot. We all heard it. And we were so confused. We thought Antifa was breaking in, or BLM, because of those were the riots that had gone on and on all throughout 2020, day in and day out. Just horrible riots all over the country. And that was the only thing that made sense to most of us,
What do you mean by BLM?
BLM rioters,
Is that an acronym for something?
Black Lives Matter rioters that were attending the Black Lives Matter protest.
To your knowledge, has anybody connected with the Black Lives Matter movement or the Antifa movement, as you say, been subject to arrest or charge in connection with the January 6th events?
I don't know, actually. I know they were arrested all over the country much through 2020, and over 95% of them had their charges dropped, unlike January 6 rioters that are still in jail, some of them, pre-trial.
I have a few moments to consult, and then I think I may be done.
Sure, just, yeah, we don't need a break, do we?
5 minutes.
You want a 5-minute break? Well, if y'all want to step out, that might be easy for everybody else. I think it's a room next door to the deputy. That's fair, nobody having to go and talk. If you want to step down, stretch your legs, feel free to do so.
No, I'm doing fine.
Oh, that's good. I know.
How are you doing?
I'll get through the day. It'll be fine.
Yeah, this is. Yeah, she tried to pivot. I don't know, Dennis, but I'm pretty sure the judge is asking the same thing. I mean, you'll have to see. The judge has been going through it. Seriously, it's so funny to watch. Like that's just the go-to. Oh, it's BLM. It's Antifa. That's like, wait a minute. What were they trying to? were they trying to stop the steal? She seems more focused on other people than what she witnessed. Listen, it's crazy. Yeah, it's like the. Do you see? Is Antifa in the room with us now? But she said so much ridiculous stuff that it comes back, and now she's trying to backtrack and cover for. But she said some like inflammatory stuff because that's all she does. Like she does nothing in Congress, nothing. She's not on any committees. And even if she was on committees, just the way that Congress is being run and mismanaged in terms of you've got the speaker, Pelosi, and then you've got the minority leader. They meet together. They just determine what's going to be in the bill, or have some lobbyists write up the bill for them, and then they just bring it back to their respective parties and say, this is what you're going to sign. This is what you're going to vote on, which is why you have so many times that these bills are coming through. Nobody in Congress has read them. So the question is, if nobody in Congress has read the bill, who wrote the bills? But yeah, she does nothing in Congress. Georgia on my mind. Oh, this is going to be hilarious. Yeah, absolutely. I know Lucas is going to kill this. John Sullivan infiltrated. That I think I know who you're talking about. She enjoys being, yeah. It's a show for her. It's just a show. That's an interesting perspective. Well, because she doesn't really serve a genuine purpose for that. So it's not like she actually brings a whole lot to the table. So they have no problem, just abandoning her whenever it's convenient. She's a business owner, so she owns, I think, like some CrossFit gyms, and she's an avid CrossFit participant. Judges. Yeah. Yeah, everybody, please hit the like button. Hit the like button. We've got to end Nancy Pelosi's tyranny. That was a joke. Not the like button, the tyranny part. I don't want to be where she is. Congress, yeah. No, she's actually got a lot of money. She's got a lot of money, and that's actually how she won, because she put a lot of her own money into her campaign. It's ridiculous that how little she knows about government, about her job, like having to not knowing that what's in the Declaration of Independence in itself is just like, wow. And you're actually a lawmaker. Y'all can say what you want about Marguerite Greene. She represents her people way better than Sheila Jackson Lee represent. Close switch. Yeah, she's not very intelligent at all. Okay, looks like we're but it shouldn't be.
I mean, the same video? Yeah. The one we've seen, the two different versions? Correct.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Go ahead, judges. I've got confusing it. I'm talking about the January 5th Newsmax clip where she says, "This is our Section 76 moment." That's on her Facebook page.
Well, yeah, they run together. That's one with blue dress.
No,
This one.
this is the one where she's interviewed by a reporter.
Oh, Newsmax. Yeah, the interview.
And I asked her, how did she post it on her Facebook page? I didn't recall.
So I'm not a fan of the whole.
I want to show her that.
Like, I'm like, if you want to beat a person, beat them. But it is entertaining, number one. Number two, like, she said some really off the wall stuff, and she clearly is having trouble backing it up. It's like, don't say stuff if you can't back it up. And she's in a spot where she's trying to backtrack and make excuses for just using and like her lawyer talking about hyperbole. But that just shows you just how full of it these people are. Jimmy James, if no one reads the bill, then they all should be questioned like her. Listen, I'm not sure how familiar you are with Justin Amash. Justin Amash goes in on them with like there was a bill, I forgot which one it was. Because this has happened several times. But AOC is complaining about how they just got the bill like on a Monday, and she's like, "Oh, we haven't even had time to vote for it." And Justin Amash says, "Yes, and this is a frequent occurrence in Congress where they'll get a bill. It's like a several hundred-page bill. No one has read it, but before the end of the night, everyone's going to vote yes on it." And sure enough, AOC, despite complaining about not being able to read it, was one of the people that voted yes on the bill. But like, this is just business as usual. And it shouldn't be. People voting representatives who they agree with, intelligence. And yeah, now it's just about this team sports that they're playing. That's not even based on substance.
I'm going to return to the subject.
Yes.
Ask her if she recalls that she posted this to her Facebook page. If she does, then we're done.
And then if
If
not,
not, I'm going to show her that.
okay, all right, we'll do that. There we go.
Yeah, I don't think they're really fighting to protect her.
Okay, I got you. I need to get my
I think the establishment wants to shut her down because they did it before and they're doing it the same thing. The Progressive Caucus endorsed the other chick,
Thank you for your patience.
which is crazy.
Your Honor. In the previous discussion, I had asked about what we've marked as Plaintiff's Exhibit 27, which is the Newsmax clip, you recall, that we showed you. Remember that, right?
The one we've already watched.
The one we've already. And I asked you whether you recall that you posted that Newsmax clip on your Facebook page.
I don't recall what was posted on my Facebook page. I don't make all of my Facebook posts.
Fair enough. Let's
Explain what this is.
yeah, I'd like to show you this. This is a live version of your congressional campaign Facebook page as it sits there today. And what we have is the clip that we had separated in the previous testimony. And I'd like to play that for you, just to see if you will acknowledge that that clip is now available on your Facebook page.
No, it wasn't actually planned, but President Trump knows how much I support him. He knows how much I support our district, Georgia's 14th district. And so I was happy to go up there and encourage our voters to get out and vote. We can't allow our two Republican senators lose their seats to two radical socialist Democrats. So I was excited to get up there and also cheer on Senator Kelly Loeffler for announcing last night that she'll be objecting to this fraudulent stolen election tomorrow on January 6th. And I'm very excited that both of us women representing Georgians will be fighting for President Trump and fighting for the integrity of our elections tomorrow.
What is your plan tomorrow? How do you plan to handle what could possibly go down in the joint session of Congress tomorrow? What are you prepared for?
Well, I'll echo the words of many of my colleagues as we were just meeting together in our GOP conference meeting this morning. This is our 1776 moment.
Ms. Greene, that's up on your Facebook page today, right?
If that's there, then yes, it's on there.
Right. And that's been posted since January 5th, 2021, correct?
I didn't post it, but if that's when it was posted, then that's when it was posted.
And things that are posted on your Facebook page are posted with your authorization and permission, right?
I do not view things that are posted before they're posted.
That wasn't my question. My question was, if it was posted on your page, that's something that you authorized and permitted, whether you viewed it in advance or not.
I think if I'm authorizing, I would view it in advance before it's posted.
Well, no one put that up on your Facebook page without authorization from you, in some sense, right?
I don't recall authorizing, but you have to understand, as a member of Congress, we have staff and many people that post interviews and so forth on our social media for us.
Make it a little bit larger. If you look in the top right, you'll see there's a message on the screen. We can make that larger. January 5th, 2021. That's a comment that you posted on your own Facebook page. This is our 1776 moment, right?
That is my campaign Facebook page.
Right. And that was posted up, as it says, on January 5th, 2021. Right.
That's what it says.
Okay. I'll ask about a couple of other things. Prior to the inauguration in 2021, did you advocate for martial law with the President of the United States?
I don't recall.
You know President Trump, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he's supported you politically, right?
Yes.
And obviously a very important person in general, right?
Yes. 45th President of the United States. I consider that very important.
With him, right?
Yes.
And you had meetings with him between the election in 2020 and January 20th of 2021, right?
Yes,
And in those meetings, you discussed with him your advocacy for the idea that there should be martial law declared in the United States.
no, I don't recall ever discussing that.
Well, are you saying it didn't happen, or you're saying you don't know one way or the other?
I don't recall ever discussing that.
Did you discuss that topic, the idea that there should be martial law declared in the United States prior to the inauguration of President Biden?
Your Honor, I'm gonna have to object. I actually represent the President of the United States, and that's covered by executive privilege. She can't get into this conversation.
Executive privilege, she's not a member of the executive, and this council is here on her behalf, not on Mr. Trump's behalf, unless there's something I missed. It's not a proper objection, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, I got flustered. What was the question again?
The question was whether, prior to the inauguration of Joe Biden, Ms. Greene, whether you ever advocated for martial law to be imposed in a conversation with the Chief of Staff of then President of the United States, Mr. Trump.
You can answer the question.
I don't recall.
Did you ever advocate for martial law prior to the inauguration of Mr. Biden with any member of the White House staff that was part of the Trump administration?
I don't recall.
Are you aware of any other elected congressional representatives advocating for martial law to stop the peaceful transfer of power before the inauguration of Mr. Biden?
I don't remember.
Do you regard the people who were arrested and charged in connection with the January 6th events as patriots?
I don't think them being arrested and charged on January 6th affects the fact that they're patriots or not.
Okay, so you do regard them as patriots.
Yeah, some of them are veterans. Yes, some of them definitely are patriots.
Okay. Can we have EX60? EX40. Sorry.
Which one is this? TX? 60?
Yes, this is plan 60. Ms. Greene, I've placed in front of you what we've marked as Petitioner's Exhibit 60, which is a story that appeared in the Washington Post on January 5th, 2021. Did you read that story in the Washington Post?
I don't think I've read this one.
You recall hearing that prior to January 6th, did you recall hearing that the Washington Post was reporting that there were concerns that there were going to be violence and there was going to be violence in Washington on January 6th?
I had not heard that. I heard no threats of violence that I remember at all for January 6th.
We also look at EX40.
Maybe zero.
Thanks.
This thing, I'm gonna show you this.
Ms. Greene, I placed before you a January 5th, 2021 article entitled "Violent Threats Ripple Through Far-Right Internet Forums Ahead of Protest." This is an article that appeared in NBC News on the 5th. You recall reading that NBC was reporting that there were violent threats that were expected to occur on January 6th, and that they reported that on the 5th of January.
Sir, we were really busy just preparing to object on the 6th. I don't recall that news report.
Have you read this news report before?
Not until you placed it in my hand.
Okay, probably didn't have much time to read it.
No.
Let me consult for 1 minute. One last thing, Ms. Greene. You told us early in the day that you were suspended from your Twitter account or permanently taken off Twitter. Is that right?
Permanently banned.
Banned. You're not banned from Facebook though, right?
No.
We saw your live Facebook page just a couple of minutes ago, right?
You pulled that up. Yes, you did.
And on your Facebook page, you have directed that certain videos be removed from the Facebook page, right?
I don't recall.
One of the videos that you have removed was the one from February of 2019, where it talked about a sea of people and flooding the Capitol and violence in the Capitol in connection with the Fund the Wall matter, right?
I don't know what you're referring to.
You had your staff take that one down, didn't you?
I don't know what you're referring to.
Facebook never ordered you to take any video off your Facebook page, did they?
I don't recall.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
Do you want to proceed? I mean,
Sure.
you need a break?
Oh, no. I'm doing great.
Okay, again, I don't.
Do that.
Right, will not take long, and I assume we can have a break to get ready for a final.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. Thank you.
Representative Greene, I'm going to take you back to January 6th. You've already testified that you were on lockdown in the House chamber. And
I'm sorry.
I just need Mr. Rock to speak up a little bit.
Oh, you need to speak. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
you've already testified that you were on lockdown in the House chamber.
Yes.
And
Tagline, I can't recall.
did you have an opportunity to do a video
Yes.
and a tweet accompanying that video?
Yes.
And about what time did that occur on January 6th?
I believe it was around 2:30 in the afternoon.
And where were you in the video when you took the video?
I was inside the House chamber and we had gone on lockdown, and it was after I had learned that there had been some violence outside the Capitol and someone had been shot, and there was just people that we were only told there were people inside the Capitol. And I got very concerned because at that time I was confused. I was so confused. I was shocked. I'd never been in anything violent before, any kind of situation like that, and I was really scared. And I went inside the cloakroom, inside the House chamber in the Republican cloakroom, into one of the phone booths where you can go to make a phone call or anything. I went inside there and I made a video telling people to be peaceful, not to be violent, and just giving out a message. And I tweeted that video from the Republican cloakroom.
Did you know at that time who was attacking the Capitol?
No, I didn't know. There was people were saying different things. We mostly thought that it was Antifa dressed up as Trump supporters. That was the first thing we were told. We had no idea. I was in the cloakroom, couldn't see the news. I just knew that we were on lockdown, and they said, by that point, they said, you cannot leave. You have to stay in here.
I'll show you what's marked as R1. It's the tweet. And I don't know, I think we just have the video along with it electronically.
This has already been admitted.
Yeah.
Right.
Is this your tweet? Is this your face?
Yes.
Yeah.
And for, did you say in this tweet, a message from the Capitol? Be safe, be smart, be peaceful, obey the law. This is not a time for violence. This is a time to support President Trump and support election integrity. God bless.
Yes.
Would you show the video, please? R1?
Somebody got that set
I
up.
don't see Devin. He was setting it up.
Oh.
yesterday.
Mr. Henderson said he would play it here today. assuming the court.
Yeah, Devin was, set it up yesterday.
Okay,
Whenever the day before. I'm sorry, in the morning.
Of course, everybody's here. I think that's a universal rule of life. Okay.
We had a thumb drive delivered, yesterday.
I know, again, I call it technology.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be direct. I mean, I have, this may be it. I have, is that it? I mean, I guess it's safe, it's been in my custody. Again, I don't know where he is. And you do not want me touching the computer, I can assure you. Right. I think this is it for them.
You know, if you need a plan, you want us to go on recess so we can set it up, we can break.
Well, we'll take 5 minutes. I mean, people are not gonna leave and come back in 5 minutes. It's gonna take a minute to set it up. Sorry.
I thought it.
Sorry. Yeah. It's there, a laptop, or we play from here, whichever is needed. If you need me to go grab a laptop. Yeah, it's gonna be on
It needs to be on that screen.
Okay.
I gotta use a laptop.
No, we don't,
Okay, so it needs to, their laptop is disconnected.
Right.
Yeah, so we just need to disconnect it from the Discord.
Okay, so looks like we're going to a break. Yeah, so this is going to be his chance to rehabilitate her, make her look okay. Well, I didn't know he was disabled. This is his chance to rehabilitate her, make her look less horrible. Like I said, after this is going to come the recommendation, and then the Secretary of State will still be able to make the final determination. Yeah, it really is. It's crazy though. It's crazy. The nonsense that's going on. Let me see something. I'm trying to think of how I can change that. Yeah, Gates appears to be like the only person here who has her back. Maybe Lauren Boebert is in her corner, but she might be doing something else. But I think a lot of the establishment has no problem letting her go down in flames. It doesn't seem like she's much use to anybody, or uh, does she have a lot of friends? And she does a lot of stupid stuff. She's done a lot of stupid stuff, says a lot of stupid stuff, and it's crazy watching her trying to backtrack and clean up a lot of the dumb stuff she says. Because now she realizes just the dangerous position she's put herself in. She said stuff that's just so over the top, so out off the wall that exactly, Joe. She's played herself, pushing her own agenda constantly. Like going there, like the whole thing with treason, that was crazy. I don't know if he does. I think Ben Shapiro doesn't even take it seriously. Because remember, he's a lawyer. If I was in the Republican Party looking to get reelected, I would align myself with her just because Trump backs her. It's still not ready yet. It's still working on this stuff. Yeah. Because he's an actual Harvard educated lawyer, and he knows she has like rocks in her head. So he's not gonna take it seriously. Yeah, she's displayed that she doesn't even have like a basic understanding of how government works. But she is government. That's the crazy part. Looks like they may be almost ready. So I'm guessing this is the video of her. Everyone calm down. Maybe I missed it, or maybe this guy missed it. But there was video of her talking about the planning sessions for January 6th. I thought for sure that was going to be, and maybe he did mention it, and I just missed it. But I thought for sure that was going to be a very prominent part of the discussions, because she's actually leaving like the White House late at night. Well, at night, and she's talking about how, yeah, we just finished the planning session for the Stop the Steal thing, and she's just openly saying it. And now, mind you, that's just her describing that she was participating in organizing the protests. But I did expect him to play that up. And she's smart. She's trying to chat up the judge. Don't know if it's working.
Just letting you know for all the great people, wonderful Americans, for President Trump, that are here in Washington, D.C. today. Today is the time to support your president, and just know.
Start up yet.
I got a message to you all, just letting you know for all the great people, wonderful Americans who support President Trump, that are here in Washington, D.C. today. Today is the time to support your president,
and just know that we're fighting for you here in the Capitol and Congress, fighting for your vote and fighting for President Trump. So I urge you to remain calm. I urge you to have a peaceful protest. Make sure that everyone is safe and protected, and let's do this in a peaceful manner. This is not a time for violence. This is a time to support President Trump, support our election integrity, and support this important process that we're going through in Congress, where we're allowed to object. So this is very important. So I urge you to stay calm, be the great American people that I know you are, and just know that we're in here fighting for you. So God bless everyone. Be careful, be safe, and be smart, and obey the laws. Thank you very much.
Representative Greene, is that you?
Yes.
As I look at your face and hear your voice, I think you're scared.
Objection. This is not for Mr. Bob to testify about his feelings.
What were your feelings at the time?
I was scared. I was very scared. I was concerned. I was shocked, absolutely shocked. Every time I said we're going to fight, it was all about objecting. And to me, that was the most important process of the day. And I had no idea what was going on, and I just didn't want anyone to get hurt. I didn't want to see anything terrible happen. And it was very upsetting. I was very, very upset when I made that video.
Yes.
You've been on the stand for several hours here during direct examination, and they showed you multiple tweets and multiple videos. Did they show you that video?
No, they didn't show that one or all the other social media posts that have been made on my accounts that I have made, or videos I have made where I've always denounced violence, and all the videos I've said and speeches I've said of how upset I was about the riot on January 6th and how much I didn't like it and how much I was against it. And even when I went and visited the January 6th defendants, pretrial defendants in the DC jail, and I went there to see their conditions because we had heard horrible things about their treatment.
I don't know what this is relevant to. I object.
The fact that it's not relevant, but so I sustain, yes.
No, cutting you off is going beyond the question. Thank you. Now, let me show you what's been admitted as R4.
Yeah.
So this is a transcript of the video that's been admitted into evidence. And I want you to turn to page 2. And did you say these words? So I urge you to remain calm. I urge you to have a peaceful protest. Make sure everyone is safe and protected. And let's do this in a peaceful manner. This is not a time for violence. This is a time to support President Trump, support our election integrity, and support our important process that we're going through in Congress, where we're allowed to object. So this is very important. So I urge you to stay calm. Be the great American people that I know you are, and just know that we're in here fighting for you. So God bless, be careful, be safe, and be smart, and obey the law. Thank you.
Yes.
I think there's a subsequent tweet that you did referring to the violence that occurred on January 6th. And it's P1P. And I am actually not certain whether that has been admitted or not admitted.
P1.
P1P.
I do not believe it.
So Representative Greene, did you tweet this tweet? If I know what I'm talking about.
I don't remember, but I see it's my, MT Greene Twitter account.
So it went out from your Twitter account, and you don't know if you did it or another member of your staff or another person.
I can't recall exactly, but I think I tweeted this one.
Now, this says, and this is what the date is, January 12th, is that correct?
Yes.
This tweet says, I proudly stand with Representative Mulbrook and everything in his statement, which you link to later on. The unhinged left is out of control, and their disgusting witch hunt is full of hypocrisy. Democrats are on record for support of violence all year. We did not plan, cause, and denounce, and that's capital letters, denounce the January 6th attack. I defend my honor and reputation. So was that the message sent out on your Twitter account?
Yes, it's the same message I've said over and over again about January 6th.
Now, FBI Director Christopher Wray testified before Congress soon after the attack. It was before the Senate on March 2nd, 2021. And this is R5, which has been admitted to evidence. And let me show you this.
Are you moving to the admission of this?
Yeah, let me sure if it's been admitted.
I don't believe this has been admitted. All right. Are you moving to admit?
Yes, I am.
Any objection?
I'm moving.
No objection.
Yes, sir. It's in. Admitted.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, when he testified before Congress on March 2nd, of course, you remember Congress, right?
Yes.
And he said, I was appalled, like you, at the violence and destruction that we saw that day. He's referring to January 6th.
Yes.
I was appalled that you, he's testifying before Congress, looking at members of Congress, our country's elected leaders were victimized right there in these very halls. Were you a victim of the attack?
Yes, I was. I was in the House chamber when it happened. I had to be evacuated to safety. We were held for hours in a secret location protected by Capitol Police, military members for hours until they cleared the Capitol. Yes, I was a victim of the riot that day.
No further questions.
Your Honor, I believe the testimony has opened the door on the issue of text messages that Representative Greene sent on January 6th during the insurrection. And we would call for their immediate production and the ability to have a moment to look at them so that we can examine her on them.
I thought the testimony was she did not send any other message.
No, she's testified that she sent messages to her children and her family.
Those were text messages. Those were not tweets. We did not talk about any text messages. That was the controversy over the admission of the text messages, which we have not referred to at all.
Except that Representative Greene referred to it when I asked her if she was in touch with anybody from that day from the floor, and she said she texted her family.
You can't open the door.
Hold on.
Only I could open the door.
Well,
Okay.
let's first of all, do you have any questions other than this?
I do, and I'm going to preserve that position, but I'll
I understand. We're going to take a break. It's been a little chaotic for the last few minutes.
Representative Greene, you mentioned a number of statements that you made after January 6th where you talked about being upset about the fact that there was violence, right?
Yes.
Can you point to one press release or tweet or comment on Facebook prior to January 6th where you use the word peacefully and in terms of urging people to behave peacefully at the demonstrations that were expected to occur?
I would have to look all through my social media, but I'm sure that it's there. I've always denounced violence. I denounced those Antifa BLM riots all over the country over and over, just like I denounced the January 6th riot over and over. Even to the people in jail, I told them that it was wrong. I told them in the DC jail I did not like what they did, but that I'm there because I support their due process rights, which is being violated.
Can you point to one video prior to January 6th where you urged people to behave peacefully on January 6th? One time in public on video where you said those words?
I don't have a computer. I don't have my social media. I didn't remember many of the social media posts that you pulled up and interviews.
I was interested that you answered some questions about FBI Director Wray's testimony in Congress. Do you believe the FBI was behind the January 6th violence in the Capitol?
I don't know. I certainly think there's a lot to be investigated. We don't know who Ray Epps is, the scaffolding commander. The Governor Whitmer's plot certainly leads to questions about things that happened on January 6th. I think there's a lot of investigations that need to happen.
You've referred to January 6th as a Fed insurrection, right?
I'm not sure.
Nothing further.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Bob, before we take our break?
No.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Okay.
Do they rest or what?
Do you rest?
No, we have an issue that we want to consult on, but either we're going to put in a video or we're going to move to closing statements, but the video has been admitted, so it's a timing issue that we want to talk about.
All right. So you don't need the witness. She's excused.
That's right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Representative. You are excused. Step down. All right. Now, I believe we discussed we would take a break before we go. What do you want to do, Mr. Kelly? I mean, you want to take a break? I don't know what you're contemplating. Out of 5 minutes or an hour.
Yeah, I think.
I mean, the thing that's interesting is that because you know how she said, "Oh, I thought it was Antifa. I thought it was BLM attacking," but then in the little recording she gives, she's not talking to BLM or Antifa.
Only because we're trying to figure out our presentation, the last piece of our presentation, if we want to close or do we have one more thing, and so it'd be nice to know.
Well, I will consult with Judge Malley and we will respond when we reconvene.
Thank you.
Okay, we're off to 15 minutes. Judge Malley, can I have a chat with you about logistical questions?
So yeah, so her testimony is done, and they're gonna break, have closing arguments. But yeah, it's ironic that it was Antifa. I thought it was BLM attacking, and then in the video, she's like, "Oh, we're here to support President Trump." Wait, you thought Antifa and BLM was there to support President Trump? Like what? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's absolutely absurd. But it's gonna be interesting to see what happens, what he decides, and then the key thing is going to be to see what the Secretary of State decides. So I'm actually gonna go ahead. That was a lot. That was a lot, people. I want to thank everyone for coming to the stream. Joy joining the stream. Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Tech Lad. Thanks, PJ. Joe. Thanks, everybody. New people, thank you for coming to the stream. I'm gonna end the stream here, but there's still some more. There's just the closing statements, and I'll just probably post a link if you want to continue watching this, because it's not too much left in the proceedings. But I want to thank everyone for coming to the stream. Amaterasu, thank you for coming, and everyone. I'll probably come on later on just to talk briefly about what happened. But everyone, enjoy the rest of your Friday. Have a good one.